Hereford's Mayfair originally celebrated the cathedral and city's patron saint, St Ethelbert, a young East Anglian king murdered nearby on the orders of King Offa of Mercia. His saint's day is May the 20th. This short film tells the story of that fair. How long ago the holding of an unofficial fair on St Ethelbert's Day began, we can't know. But we do know that in 1121, King Henry I issued a charter to the Bishop of Hereford, Richard de Capella, giving royal permission for a 3-day fair to be held each year. Part of the city was under the bishop's jurisdiction, and that's why the bishop received the charter. The fair was to be in what was called the bishop's fee, an area centred on the cathedral and the bishop's palace.
Henry, King of England, to all the barons and all his faithful people of France and England, and to all the burgesses in the whole of England, greetings. Know that I have granted to Richard, Bishop of Hereford, a fair for 3 days at Hereford, on the feast of St Ethelbert the Martyr, which is the day next, following the feast of St Dunstan the Bishop. And to come to it, and have there as good customs as I had in any fair in the whole of England, and have my firm peace in going, and remaining there, and returning.
So that's the charter and the fair that we celebrate this year. Hereford's Mayfair is the oldest continuous street fair in England, still taking place in the heart of the city 900 years after it was granted its charter, though it's had its ups and downs along the way.
In the first few centuries of its existence, the fair was extended, first to 6 days and then to 9 days, and the bishop was granted a further privilege, a monopoly on all trade within 5 leagues, that's 15 miles, of Hereford during the time of the fair. It's little wonder that there were many disagreements between the bishop and the city authorities over their respective rights. Then, after the Civil War, Colonel John Birch bought the rights to the fair, though he had to hand them back at the restoration of king and church, and the bishop then fought to re-establish the tradition. Originally a fair for the sale of goods of all sorts, the Mayfair eventually became mainly a pleasure fair, though with some produce sold even in the 19th century. So times moved on, and the purpose of the fair has changed. Control of the fair has changed hands too, and since 1838 it's no longer the bishop's fair.
Whereas a fair called St Ethelbert's Fair has been heretofore holden every year within the city, and whereas the rights, privileges, tolls and jurisdiction of the said fair have heretofore been vested in the Lord Bishop of Hereford for the time being, it would greatly tend to the advantage of the said city and to the improvement of the morals of the inhabitants thereof if the time for holding the said fair in future was limited to 2 days, and it would be of great public advantage if the tolls and jurisdiction of the said fair were transferred from the Lord Bishop of Hereford to the mayor, aldermen and burgesses of the city.
Giving the management of the fair to the city council was no doubt a relief to the bishop, but it did deprive him of a source of income. That's why, to this day, the city council pays some compensation to the bishop. Here's what the council decided.
Resolved that the tolls and jurisdictions over the fair be transferred to the city council, and that they pay the Lord Bishop of the diocese and his successors annually as many bushels of wheat and as many bushels of oats as £5 will now purchase.
In 1867, they moved the fair from its traditional start date of St Ethelbert's feast to an earlier date in May, later confirmed in 1985. As the rides and attractions have got bigger, they've also expanded into more streets, and now the fair spreads throughout the city centre for 3 colourful days. But what hasn't changed is the welcome.
During the time of the fair, it shall and may be lawful for all persons to come and repair unto the said fair, which is to be kept and held within certain streets in Hereford, they paying toll at the respective gates to the city. And all persons are strictly charged and commanded to leave their arms or weapons within their inns or lodgings during the said fair, to prevent the disturbance of the Queen's Majesty's peace. All persons that erect or make booths or standings within the said streets shall and are hereby required to pull them down at the end of the said fair, to cause the soil to be carried away for the cleaning of the said streets, upon pain and penalty thereon. God save the Queen.
Without the showmen and the people who come to the fair each year, it would be nothing. How wonderful it is this year to celebrate 900 years of the fair's charter, something that means as much to the showman as it does to the city.
My name is Alfie Scarrett. I'm from a showman's family. We've come to Hereford Fair for 4 generations. My family still come to Hereford Fair. My cousin Shady, and in particular every showman that comes to Hereford Fair have been deeply devastated by the inability to attend Hereford Fair because of the pandemic. Last year was a loss, and this year again the second fair. It's a big blow to the showmen and their families that come to Hereford Fair, and all of the fairs across the UK that have been put on hold because of the pandemic. With the help of the Showmen's Guild, who I'm the secretary of the South Wales section, we've worked with the government on COVID guidance, and with that and the help of the local councils that are allowing the fairs to open again, hopefully this time next year Hereford Fair will be in full effect.
As we give thanks for 900 years of the fair, we wonder what it will become in the years ahead, and we wish it a glorious future.